Nicki, before we get to the nuts and bolts of the game tomorrow, the important question is, I understand you're one of the main hairdressers of all the players at the Ottawa Fury, and a good one at it. I don't know if you can see this, but when you get a chance to watch our show, my wife thinks that my haircut is too short for her liking and the buzz was too low. I went on number 3 on the razor there. Is that too short?
I go for a 0.5 myself.
Oh my goodness, good night. I mean, my kids are poking fun at me, saying, "What did you do, Dad? Did you even pay for that haircut?" But unbelievable, Nicki. But that's got to be actually quite soothing and passing the time, in all seriousness, for you to enjoy to cut people's hair.
Well, to be honest, it started when I was playing down in Charleston. One of my fellow teammates right now, Colin Farvey, the Irish guy on the team, his hair was a disgrace. I said I could help him out a little bit with that, and to be honest, it took a few times, a bit of trial and error, but eventually we got him looking somewhat decent, and he got a few dates from it, so it just kind of went on from there.
Now, are you a hairspray guy or a gel guy or none of the above?
I mean, it depends. It depends on the different guys here. Me personally, I'm more of a sort of a waxy type guy myself.
Nice. Nice, Nicki. That's outstanding. I'm a gel guy myself. I'm one of those guys that puts a little gel, and my kids keep picking on me for it. But hey, such is life. Nicki, let's get to it. Home opener tomorrow. A big day for you and your club. Mark Dos Santos, the coaching staff, know how important this year is. Let's be all honest here. The honeymoon is over. Last year, people came out to watch the Ottawa Fury in their first season. But this year, your team is loaded for bear to get into the dance. Julien de Guzman, I think one of the best players ever to be produced out of Canada, joins you. Talk about the pressure. Talk about the responsibility you and your teammates have to get this franchise to the dance.
I mean, to be honest with you, pressure's for tires. You know, I mean, at this stage and at this level, I mean, everybody has pressure. It's just what you do with it, you know, and I think the main thing about our squad is we have a ton of experience. We've got guys that have all been there and done it before, and we don't have very many guys that we need to nurture along, whereas last year we had maybe 6 or 7 guys that you could tell were maybe a little bit nervous going into to the start of the season. I mean, for us now, TD places home, whereas last season we kind of went there halfway through the season. It was just like an away game for us as it was for some of the other teams, so we didn't really have much of an advantage there. Now we know all about it. We train there every day. And like you said, we've made some great signings in the off-season. Pretty much everyone's healthy, so competition is, I mean, even today, the day before a game, people are still fighting for spots, which doesn't happen at an awful lot of clubs I've been at before, so yeah, we're ready to go.
I mean, that's important. You mentioned that. So did Simone before we had John. It's important to have healthy competition during training so the guys can understand how important it is to earn a spot. And I think, as one of the leaders on the team, as you are, Nicki, that it's important to show that to the younger players that, hey, a spot isn't going to be given to you all just like that because maybe you come in here with all sorts of talent. You've got to earn it.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. I mean, me, myself, I know my position definitely isn't guaranteed. I mean, I'm a midfielder myself at 30 years old. You would think at most clubs that somebody would take it easy and be comfortable and think that they're going to be starting every week. But, I mean, in midfield, we have 7 or 8 guys that are top quality. So, I mean, I think it's good because we've got a lot of games coming up with the Amway Cup. We've obviously got the 2 Wednesday fixtures coming up, which is, I think, very, very difficult for us. I mean, the American teams don't have to deal with the Open Cup until the sort of summer break. So for us, it's a very, very tough time, but we've got a squad that can cope with it this year. And I mean, some guys might have to play every minute of every game of the 5 games in the next 2 weeks. Other guys might play 2 or 3 games. But I think we're at a point right now where we know you need a squad to be successful, and it's not just going to take 11 guys. And even some of the younger guys are going to have to step up at times and show what they can do.
Nicki, talk about the fan support you guys are getting up into the lead up into this home opener. Do you sense a buzz? Do you notice that the youth clubs out there are really genuinely interested in getting involved and supporting the Fury, knowing that this is the pro team in their city that they need to get behind? Are you noticing little boys and girls having jerseys on from their favorite Fury players?
Yeah, I mean, for me, I stayed with myself and my wife are expecting a kid this summer.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. So I spent almost the whole off season here, and and was really involved in the community and doing a lot of coaching and things like that. And you can tell there is a buzz, you know. And I think the more and more the name gets out there and spreads, it can only get better as well. I think what we do have right now is sort of 4,000 or 5,000 fans that are very, very loyal, that were here last year, and I think that's kind of the same as the team from last year. We have a really, really strong base here, and I think right now it's just about putting some good results together and just watching this whole thing grow. And we've done a few promotions that kids can sort of get in free now if they're attached with a local soccer club under the age of 14 in the area, and I think that could really be great for the club and great for us. I mean, because at the end of the day, you want to play in front of big crowds. That's what we all play the game for.
Nicky, you talked about the kids. I know your area quite well, and it is a jewel of all of Canada with the talent that's coming out of that Ottawa Valley area. I mean, you've been all over the world. Do you notice that the talent is getting better and better in the Ottawa area that can really compete with any of the youngsters in North America?
Yeah, I mean, obviously I went to college in North America. I played kind of in a bunch of different states, and for me, there's no big difference between the two countries. I mean, I don't see why the young Canadians coming through can't have the same opportunities, if not more opportunities, than the Americans. And the more pro teams that arise, that can only give them more to strive for. But from what I've seen so far, especially some of the kids in our academy that have came up and trained with us, and even younger kids, younger than that, I mean, there's a lot of talent up here. There's a lot of good coaches, especially in Ottawa, even at the youth level, and I can only see things going from strength to strength.
What has the coaching staff said to you, Nicky, and all your mates, how important it is this season to start off on the winning note instead of, looking ahead to try and pick up points as you might be behind? How important is it to start strong, because the season isn't as long as, some others?
I mean, for us, we had a tough opening. Obviously, we had to go on the road for our first two games. I mean, that might have been a lot to do with the weather in Ottawa, which is great. I mean, who wouldn't want to play in the snow? But I mean, for us, we obviously had two very, very tough road games to start us off, and now we have the regular season champions coming in for our home opener. So I don't think it really gets harder than that from a scheduling point of view. But for us, I mean, it's vital for us to get points on the board early. Because I mean, when you're playing a 10-game spring season, if you've not won any in the first 4 or 5 games, well, then you're probably not going to win that season, right? So, I mean, it's a really, really important to get off to a flyer. And I mean, we're not going to say that this game at the weekend is a do or die game. If we lose it, we're not going to make playoffs. Not at all. There's a long, long way to go. But like you say, you'd much rather have the points in the bag early than chasing.
I think what's special and unique about your squad is, Nicky, there's a lot of guys that have some unfinished business that would really like to get back to MLS. I know that they're happy with your club now, but I'm thinking of Drew Becky, Andrew Weidman, guys of that ilk that really want to prove some people wrong and get back up there to prove that they can have a spot on an MLS starting squad. And as for Drew Becky, a spot on Canada. I think these guys are really, really underrated and should be given more of attention.
I mean, I couldn't agree more. I mean, just look at, for example, Mason Trafford last year. He played every minute in the NASL last year virtually, and didn't get called into any camps. That surprised me a little bit. And there's a lot of guys on the Canadian team that are unattached or don't even have clubs, and it doesn't happen anywhere else in the world, But making a signing like Julian de Guzman shows how serious that Ottawa Fury are taking things. And I mean, I think a lot of people, maybe because of that signing, will be watching our games, and if they watch the games, then they'll see that there's a lot of talent, international and Canadian, on this squad. And yeah, hopefully these guys that are all from here will get the opportunity to represent their country over the next couple of years. I think they're definitely more than capable enough.
You know, Nicky, a lot of times people like to take shots at ownership, whether in Europe with their clubs, whether here in North America. But I got to give credit to your ownership. They've dished out a ton of money, a ton of resources. They've really believed in this vision for the city of Ottawa to join the NASL with the Fury. I think this is a special ownership that really cares to see, not only on the pitch, a great product, but also off the pitch to help the youngsters, as you said. Talk about this ownership, how they have really gone out, as you said, to pick up Julian de Guzman and other guys to make this successful.
I mean, without John Pugh, our owner, one of the owners, it wouldn't be possible. I mean, this is just a guy that loves the game. has lived and breathed the game his whole life, and it was a unique opportunity in Ottawa to kind of like partner up with the Ottawa 67, the hockey team, and the Red Blacks, the football team. It was a very unique situation where we ended up with 3 teams kind of in the one facility, and I don't know if you've seen around about the stadium. It's an unbelievable project, like a half a $1 billion project. So I mean, it's a huge project. But even just at the local level, you can tell that it's not just a case of, oh well, let's just have a team and see how they do. They want to be successful. They brought in a very experienced coaching staff. They now have a great group of players to go along with it, and to be honest with you, there's no reason why we're not successful. So now, like you say, the pressure's on us to kind of live up to what the owners want us to do, and yeah, I think we're ready to do so.
Nicki, Tampa Bay, Carolina, San Antonio early on hasn't had their ball go their way, but as I said, Carolina, Tampa Bay and the Cosmos obviously will be the targets for you. These guys are loaded for bear with some off-season signings. How important is it that when you guys play these games against these clubs that you're ready to rock and roll right from the start, and especially with your home opener, make them understand that this is our home, this is our fortress. We're going to make you feel it to come away with here with a loss.
I mean, to be honest with you, if people come to the game tomorrow, they'll see exactly from word go that we mean business this year. I think we're more ready for this game than we've been for any other game. With a lot of injuries in pre-season, and we now have a full, fit and healthy squad, a very competitive squad, and I think it's time for us to make a statement and show some people on that. And to be honest with you, I've got a really good feeling about tomorrow. Minnesota have only played 1 game so far. They haven't scored a goal yet, and we don't plan to let them start that tomorrow. So I'm expecting a really positive result for us.
Nicki, just before we let you go, obviously there's a lot of youngsters that would love to live the dream of Nicki Paterson playing professional soccer here in North America. It's their dream. Many youngsters, my sons included. You've got to sit back sometime and say to yourself, wow, I'm playing the game that I love. I'm making a living at it, and this to me is something that I have worked for. But having said that, Nicki, there had to be some people in your life to help get where you're at. There had to be a couple coaches who believed in you, maybe when some others didn't. There had to be a parent, maybe a sibling. Who was so important and still in your life today that has backed you through thick and thin, through ups and downs in your career?
I mean, I could be here all day telling you about different coaches that have touched my career, but I mean, the biggest 2 people for me in my soccer life has been my brother and my father. My father introduced me to the game. Basically, whether he was my coach or he wasn't my coach, he always has been my kind of confidant and somebody I'll sit and analyse every minute, every game with. And one of the guys that he gives me praise when praise is required, but usually it's constructive criticism I get mostly from him. But my brother also, he's kind of been my inspiration. He was born with cerebral palsy a couple of months premature and was never supposed to walk or talk, and he's now the captain of the Scotland Paralympic soccer team. He's been to the last couple of Paralympics and World Cups all over the world, and I figure if this kid can do it with essentially half the tools that I have, then it would be unfair to me with the opportunity that I have not to give it everything I've got. So for me, they're my inspiration all the time. I've got a loving wife who pushes me constantly to succeed. So I've got a great family network around me, and I don't think that's a necessity to succeed, but it can definitely help. And for me, I have no excuse. I'm getting pushed constantly.
God bless you for saying that, because I tell you what, Nicki, I had an opportunity to sit down with the Paralympic Canadian team, Drew Ferguson, a couple of years ago and talk with some of his players, and you get goosebumps, and you thank God all day that you're healthy, you're happy, and you've got everything there for you when so many others are struggling. But as you said, your brother has done exceptional for his country, playing the game he loves, and that's what puts smiles on my face, your face, and that's what the game is all about. Not the politics, not the garbage that we hear and see sometimes overseas with racism. These are the stories that need to be told, as you just did. Nicki, good luck in the home opener. Good luck for the season, and we really appreciate you taking time. And again, continued success with the kids as well in the Ottawa City area, my friend.
No problem. Thank you very much. Anytime.
Pleasure's all mine.